Welcome to Calver, the digital creative school. Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to another Friday, another professional Friday where we interview really cool CG artists and creative people. And today it's also a long-time collaborator. I did a lot of jobs together with him. He's called Israel Soteldo. And I'm very excited to let him tell you about his journey and like how he's doing, how he learned 3D and where he wants to go next. So let me switch over to the interview so we can say hello to him. All right. Hey, Israel, what's up?
Hello, Calvin. Hello, people. Thank you for bringing me here.
Thanks for joining, man. I think as a beginning, so just people have kind of like an idea of what you're doing. I would like to watch your show reel together. Is that cool with you?
Nice. Yes.
All right, let's do that. Here we go, everyone. Check out Israel's work. It's a sick song, man.
I was watching my own shots and I'm seeing things to improve that I didn't like. Oh, what the fuck?
Looks sick.
Yeah, that was for a customer work, but I wanted to include it there.
All right. That was really sick, dude. There was a lot of great stuff in that I haven't seen before either. Really, really cool stuff. Did you work on most of this over the last year?
Yes, that's my whole 2024 reel.
See, very cool. Would you like to kind of like tell a little bit about yourself, kind of like how you got into 3D and why you got into 3D?
Well, short question because I like it. I like it. It was my my kid dream. So, well, first of all, I am a CG artist. I sell myself as a light artist, but I'm actually a generalist because I also do environment. I do a bit of VFX compositing. I know a bit of character design, a bit of concept art, so I know a bit of each stage of the process, but my specialty is making things look good, basically using textures, using lighting, the art direction and all of that stuff. Right now I'm working with Blender, with this amazing great program that came from the sky for mortals here. And but I actually started was with Cinema 4D like 10 years ago, and it was like it has been a little hard journey to get here because you know that this career is a bit cruel, but you know you have to like love it, like it to remain here in the way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a competitive space, especially when you work for clients and commercials, right? Like you gotta pull through. Yeah. It's tough. I saw that in your show. It was also called Blender Octane. So like you specialize in using the Octane render in Blender.
Yes.
Why is that exactly? Like, where do you see the pros in that?
Or the short answer is because I hate cycles.
You completely hate it.
I mean, when I dropped it to Blender, it was on the 2.8 update. You know, the big update of Blender with Eevee and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, amazing. And I got into Blender. I tried Eevee and Cycles and liked the stuff, but then I was watching all these like cinematics projects from games, from Weta Digital, and all these studios that create game cinematics, and I was asking myself, what is the render engine that these people use? And I met with Arnold, with RenderMan, V-Ray, all of these render engines, and I was like, okay, why is people working with these render engines and not with cycles? That was my first questions. So I tried to to like step forward and maybe okay, I'm not going to use the render engines used by the people. Let me try another way. So I tried every single render engine available for free for Blender, and I tried RenderMan. I'm actually a fanboy of RenderMan. I fucking love RenderMan.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, for example, in Toy Story 4, you can see all the change from Toy Story 1,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
it
it's
looks,
huge, of course.
yeah, like 2 centuries of improvement. But uh, when you have to choose your work until you have to negotiate some things, and the thing with RenderMan is that it's too hard to set things up. I mean, I tried to set up like a PBR material in Blenderman in RenderMan for Blender, and it was pretty hard to do. And I was investigating, and I saw that this render engine is made for Maya, so discarded.
Oh, I see.
Then I
So RenderMan for Blender isn't that user-friendly yet. Like, it's not so usable.
absolutely.
Ah.
Then I tried V-Ray, and I found out that V-Ray doesn't even exist for Blender. Well, actually, V-Ray is now in beta stage for Blender, which is great. But on that time, like 2 years ago, when I started with Octane, it wasn't. Um, the thing is that I was trying V-Ray, RenderMan, and Redshift. I really like it Redshift because I found that Redshift and Octane I like some kind of like rivals.
Yeah, yeah, they seem
And
very similar in capability and speed, yeah.
yeah, so I was trying to find something that can give me the results of RenderMan, but with the speed of of cycles in terms of settings, materials, and stuff, because I didn't want to spend too much time setting a PBR material. And that's when I found Octane, and it was like a first love meeting. I mean, I tried it, and I was like, okay, this is where I want to be.
Your new home, I see.
And yeah, in terms of advantage, it is pretty similar to Cycles. I have been trying to tell my friends that use Cycles, use Octane, try Octane. Because if you know Cycles, if you know Eevee, you will know Octane because the render engine and the render UI is pretty similar to Cycles. The only difference in that part is that the node names are different. For example, in Cycles, you have the principled shader. In Octane, it's called universal shader, or the glossy shader, I think is called in Cycles, which is a metallic shader.
Yeah, yeah.
In Octane, it's called metallic shader, and we can continue.
Yeah, I mean,
The thing,
honestly, the universal shader seems more like makes more sense than the principal shader. I personally don't even know what principle is supposed to mean in that context. Can you explain that to me?
exactly. I mean, in Octane, you have the metallic shader, the specular shader, the diffuse. Sorry, specular material, diffuse material, metallic material. The universal shader material, sorry, combines all of this. So you have like your principled shader from Cycles, but longer with a bunch of stuff, settings. And yes, that's basically what universal material is, but it's pretty similar to the principled. I mean, you have the albedo, metallic roughness, coating, transmission, volume, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think the like the most important part of Octane is the color management because you know that using Filmic or AGX, you have like some kind of like washed colors, or I can't understand exactly what is going on in the color. I have seen a bunch of tutorials of 10 minutes, 20 minutes teaching you how to manage the color in Blender, but honestly for me that is a waste of time because in Octane you just open the Octane tab, you check ACES tone mapping, and you have all
Hmm.
the color problems solved.
Yeah, I think Octane, like what I've seen from the beginning, like they really did a great job of giving you a awesome looking image from the beginning. Like even like them implementing lens flares and lens dirt and all that stuff directly in the renderer, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
they really focused on making sure that whoever uses it for the first time feels like, oh, this looks like my images look awesome, and I think they did a great job with that. I would still be interested in why you chose Blender as your tool then, like using Octane as a render engine is like, yeah, I understand fully now. Why did you choose Blender for creating your scenes?
Well, I have like 4 or 5 years using Blender, but 5 years ago I was using for my usual work. I was using the famous Element 3D from Video Copilot from the GOAT, Andrew Kramer. So,
Oh yeah.
but in that time I wanted, to give the jump to another software, and I was like, okay, what are my options? So I had 3ds Max. My experience is Max is opening and closing it because I don't like it. The UI is too much noise.
So
I tried Maya. I had the same issue with Maya. Um, there was also Unreal Engine 4, but um, I don't like too much the video games engines. And in that time was the blow up of the new, the new Blender update. And I was watching the reels of Eevee in that time, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna give a second try to Blender because I actually tried a bunch of years ago with Blender 2.7, but I was like, oh, this, I don't like this. But it was the same feeling that I had with Octane, with the first time that I opened the Blender and tried to do some stuff, lighting, setting up materials, and it was like, okay, I'm liking this program. It feels easy. It feels happy to learn, happy to move forward. So I
hmm.
was like, okay, I think I'm gonna stay here.
Interesting. Okay, so it just kind of like fitted your your workflow, your personality.
Yes, and it's free.
Yeah, a big, huge plus. Yeah. Oh, on
Hmm.
that topic, I keep seeing. I mean, yeah, the Blender Foundation is like pushing that also more than usually. Like that they need funding, right? That they need more donations. So for anyone who is using a long time Blender now, yeah, consider supporting them. They helped all of us very much. Israel, I want to go back a little bit more to your past. Like you said, you always loved 3D animation, right, and visual effects. So was this like your goal from your childhood? Like you always kind of like did things in these directions. You made videos, you made visual effects. Or like, how did you actually begin your journey into this?
Well, starting from the very, very beginning, my first meeting with animation was the first time I went to a cinema, which was watching the movie of Atlantis from Disney.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it was like a shocking experience because that's not a child movie. It's a bit like mature movie.
Yeah.
So I remember on the cinema that I was terrified on the Leviathan scene, um, watching that big monster on the screen. And I remember also that my sister, my older sister, gave me as a gift the movie of Toy Story, the first one.
Mm.
And I think that was the root of all of this passion for 3D animation. But I didn't start with that on the beginning because I'm actually a musician. I am violinist
Ah.
and the orchestra conductor. That's why on my profile picture you see me with the with the with the bottom.
I see. Okay,
Uh,
okay.
and I spent like almost 20 years in music world. But you know that the musician life is a bit hard. It's pretty hard to live doing this.
Hmm.
I could say that only one music from 10 lives being musician.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
always has like this passion for 3D animation. So my mom bought my first computer like 12 years ago or something. And the first thing that I did was, okay, I'm gonna see what is the best program for doing 3D animation. Um, and yeah, that was the beginning. In the end I left the music because I started to climb too fast in the VFX and 3D animation world, and I left the music more like a hobby
I see.
or as like a second activity, and left this like my main job, you know. But yeah, but basically I wanted to be 3D animator, well, not 3D animator, VFX artist or CG artist, because my trauma with the Leviathan on Atlantis.
That's an awesome trauma to have.
Yes.
Really cool. Really cool. I would like to ask you about your favorite project or like your favorite experience working on or like doing some visual effects and 3D animation.
Well, are we talking about personal projects or client projects or both?
I guess it could be either like just your best experience, like your like a good experience you had.
Well, always my best experience are when I've been paid the best, you know. So I remember when before doing the big upgrade on my computer, I was working for a cinematic for PlayStation VR on a game called Pistol Wipe.
Ah, yeah. I know that. I think I've seen that work of yours too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with a guy on the Upwork platform for freelancing. I got like $4K for that project because it was a heavy cinematics or heavy art to work with because it wasn't realistic. It was like some kind of low poly 2D. I don't understand too much about the aesthetic of that game. The thing is
Yeah.
that
The aesthetic is kind of strange. It's
yes,
like low poly, but also a little bit like paper textures, I guess.
yes, it was hard to do because I had to stick to that.
Hmm.
But the thing is that I got my payment and it was like, okay, I'm doing the big upgrade. I had also another customer in parallel to that project, but yeah, I think that has been like my best experience in this field. Also, I could say that my best experience here was the first time I won like an award in a cinema festival here in my country.
Ah, nice. What did you win it for?
Uh, Best 3D animation film. But that was when I was in finishing the school. I mean, I was never the best student. I could say that I was a very happy student because I have I was very happy on the school
Uh-huh.
because I didn't do a shit on well regarding to the student part. I was just there to loud with my friends and play football. But in the last year, there was a festival here called Fila, and for musicians, people with short films and commercials, the TV ads. And they was like, dude, I haven't been a good student in the last 5 years, so I won't be a good student in the last year. So I literally just spent 9 months, yes, 9 months doing a 5 minute short film for this festival,
Oh.
and I literally had all my, how do you say this in English, when you don't pass your
Your tests?
yeah, I mean I preproved it all.
Disqualification?
Yes, yeah, disqualification. I
Ah.
disqualified all everything in the school. but I won the festival. So in the end, it was worthy, and it was a very emotional experience in that time. So I wasn't actually expect to win anything, but I won.
Nice.
So I made that, that sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big commitment. Yeah, yeah. To like, yeah, spend 9 months on a short film for one festival. Did that win give you connections? Like being on that festival, like did that kind of like start your career in any way, or was it more for yourself?
No, I mean, I live in a country where we're a bit. Mm, we're not in the lead of 3D and VFX industry, but it worked like a motivational, juice to continue here.
Yeah, I
Because
see.
maybe I think if I were lost, I don't think if I could continue it here. Not sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being a big, like, yeah, motivation starter for you. Yeah, experiencing that so
Hmm.
early. Oh, maybe it's interesting for the people here to actually know where you're living at. Would you like to share
I live
that?
in Venezuela,
Mm,
South America.
I see. And there's like when you said there's not so like big 3D industry there. Do you still have a kind of like a local filmmaking 3D community there, or is it all through the internet?
All through the internet, because when you live in a country where the animation stuff is not too much mm, updated, sometimes you have to work with clients that are also not updated. So I don't like that. I prefer working with people of America, Europe, or even Asia.
Hmm.
I don't like to work with people of my country because they need still to things to learn of how to treat an artist, how to negotiate. There are that I honestly hate how the CG artists are treated here by Venezuelan people.
Hmm.
So that's a fact.
I see. Okay, okay. So you tried, but it wasn't a good experience, so you focused more on international projects.
Hmm. Yes.
I see. Okay, yeah. What are your goals for this year? What do you want to do?
Well, right now I'm on a bunch of projects. I have been doing a project that is becoming like a joke on internet. It is a fun film called The Revenge of Ultron, based on
Hmm.
Marvel stuff. Actually, on my show reel, there is a lot of stuff on Marvel and Spider-Man and stuff. I made sure to include some shots from The Revenge of Ultron on my reel. Um, but I have been struggling with that project from 7 years, I think.
You started
Um,
it 7 years ago, like it's a short film in the Marvel universe.
yes, but it was like trying, starting and failing, starting and failing. I have been in that loop for like 7 years until I stopped with the project and tell myself, okay, I'm gonna stop and maybe I'm gonna learn about a bit of the production, just a bit, and 3D animation just to make this in the level that I want to make it. So I think I finally have the level. No, I'm not where I want to be, but I think I can finally present something that is at least decent for the people. So I'm planning to start the crowdfunding campaign in
Hmm.
March, maybe April, with like some kind of concept trailer or pitch trailer, so the people can see, the potential of the project and can finally, donate.
Interesting.
And
That's very interesting. Is that project like fully your baby, or do you have a team that you're working together on?
have a team of voices, of Latin voices, Spanish people, but I need to gather a team of 3D artists that can can make the things more easier to me. I mean, I'm still participating in my movie, working the 3D technical part and not sitting there like a director do. But it's a really big project. It's not longer a short film. It's more like 3D chapters of 10 or 15 minutes. So it's too much, too much stuff to do. You, you and me working together on our old projects, we struggle too much with just 1 minute of project, So
Yeah, yeah.
to
Every second is hard work in animation.
yeah, so we need big budget and a big team. So finishing, I mean, starting this crowdfunding campaign and finishing with success is a really important part because you know that the main engine of this industry is the money. So we need money.
Yeah, everything runs with money. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Did you? So is this a story that you wrote?
Yes, I'm not pretty good reading movies. I have my own screenwriter, but yes, the base was written by me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I gave this to a friend of mine, and that is studying acting and screenplay, and we are reading the movie together. It's based on the Marvel and the MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um, and yeah, we are doing like our own version of the Age of Ultron movie, but based in another timeline, another universe, and it's called The Revenge of Ultron.
See, okay. No, it sounds super exciting. That definitely share the link to the Kickstarter when you have that ready. That would be very cool to check out and support. I would like to. We talked a little bit about this in the green room before the stream, but what is your, your view on the creative industry currently?
Usually, I'm not the most optimistic person. I'm always, like waiting for the worst just to be prepared.
Hmm.
But you know that last year wasn't a good year for, I think, for anyone because I have friends from all levels. I have VFX artists, friends that have worked on Marvel movies, on Venom, or Sonic movie. And I also know about people that is in the lower levels, starting or indies artists, and I have found in common that none of us had a good year in the
Yeah.
last, 2024 year. So I am expecting this year to be better because I don't think it can get worse, honestly. But I'm expecting this year, like I have been reading about of what's going on. For example, I have been reading, for example, Across the Spider-Verse movie about all the stuff that happened with the artists moving forward and backwards with change and stuff,
Hmm.
and all what's happening with Marvel's movies in the last year that had a terrible, terrible CGI. And I honestly hope that everyone, have learned from these mistakes and start to change the mindset for this year and start to do better.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting from for this year.
Do you think that was? Do you think those things are linked? Kind of like the, I guess, bad production practices and low amount of jobs. Do you think those things are linked?
Maybe I think we are living like some kind of echo from the COVID stuff on 2020. Because, for example, that was like my best year for working because everyone was at home. And I mean, I was already at home before that year. But for people that work from home like us, it was like like great because we had like a big amount of customers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the people that was already on top of this market was like a good day of fishing. But once the COVID finished, I think that all flow of customers were like, okay, people is now out. You won't have the same amount of job that you had on that year, so you have to, adapt to the environment and see what we can do for, improving or finding again our target or our, how do you say this in English? Our niche, I think is
Niche,
this.
like finding the niche.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, but I think that all of this stuff, all of these things related to the COVID is still, remaining on the industry.
Yeah, it definitely shook up a lot of things, and maybe like right now, like, yeah, there was a lot of need to adapt, right? Like immediately. So that kind of worked out for us as 3D artists who work in the virtual space. And during that time, obviously, like live action productions suffered much more. And yeah, it feels like now it's kind of like, I mean, additionally to the kind of like financial situation of America and Europe getting like worse and worse. Maybe we're kind of like trying to like figure out where the correct balance is again, right? Like after coming back from COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Something that I have told to my friends when this kind of struggling times comes is that mm, this is like being on the sea, you know, when the waters goes up and everything start to sink. You have to be on top if you don't want to sink. So if you want to be on the top, you have to be the best in the market. So I have been spending the last year improving, watching my own stuff and seeing what can I improve, how can I get better, how can I be better than the other guy that is having customer and not me, you know.
Mm.
So I think you have already to remain competitive, you know, because this is especially in this era of TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts when everything is digital, you know. So you have to like try to be the best as you can if you want to like remain on top and don't sink in the sea.
Yeah. If you want to live a good life, you gotta be very, very good in this industry. Yeah. Do you also see any opportunities that are happening right now? Like something that, for example, like a newcomer in this field could try out or experiment with?
Maybe, I mean, for example, I have seen this movie Flow, you know.
Oh, yeah, I want to check it out. Dude, everyone's talking about this movie, and I was so close to seeing it like 3 times, and I always barely missed it. Yeah.
I
So,
haven't seen it, but I just saw the trailer.
mhm.
But it was a big surprise for me when I found out that it was made with Blender inside Eevee, with rendered everything with just one computer. And I
Oh,
was
it's
like,
made.
oh,
It's rendered with Eevee.
mm-hmm,
Damn,
yes.
dude. Yeah, Eevee's. I mean, I've been talking about this also a lot recently, but I actually did end up using a lot of my Eevee renders. Like whenever I do a project, right? Like I do a Eevee render just to like kick out to the client as a preview. But honestly, yeah, sometimes it just turns out that the Eevee render looks better than the Cycles render. So I end up using the Eevee render, like especially when it comes to more abstract stuff. It kind of like gives it goes in more into the abstract direction that it then kind of like helps to get that style across a bit better. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before about the render engines, and in my personal experience, I prefer Octane, but you know, I have seen a lot of great stuff with Cycles. So it depends always more on the artist, you know, how can you how can you work with what you have. So I have seen a lot of good stuff in Eevee also,
It
being like it's not a path trace like Cycles, you know,
no.
but
It definitely depends also on what your end result is supposed to be, right? Like for you, it makes total sense because you are very focused on having realistic and detailed lighting and having like total control over that. So like having like a photorealistic path tracer. Even though I've heard that Octane actually works as a biased renderer, right? Like it's doing a lot of tricks instead of calculating it photorealistically correct. But even though it still looks more photorealistic than others, so.
yeah, yes,
So,
exactly.
so it definitely depends on what your end result should be. So yeah, I would say it's still worth to investigate what kind of videos, animations you want to make, and then see if any of the available renderers lean into that direction, right? There's also from Dylan Goose Studio, right? They made like a whole render version of Blender that's for non-photorealistic rendering. And I've heard that they're actually bringing their development into the main Blender branch over the next years. So yeah, it seems it's obvious. Like honestly, it seems like Eevee and Cycles are trying to get as photorealistic as possible. Even Eevee having like those ray tracing features and stuff like that now. But it's cool to see that they're also still trying to go into the other direction with bringing over that GU engine render pipeline.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have seen a bit really good stuff regarding to Eevee, but in stylized aesthetic, like Arcane or Into the Spider-Verse, I think Eevee works like, pretty good in that field.
Yeah, yeah. We also have here someone in the chat, Orirock, says that you're cute and that you have a cool accent.
Thank you.
You know Ori, or is it some online stranger?
He's a friend of mine.
Nice, very good. Friendly support.
Yes.
I would also like start getting into questions from the viewers, and also if there's any students watching, you can join the live stream channel on Discord and join via voice, and yeah, we can ask Israel some questions. Maybe in the meantime, while they write their questions,
By the way, the music stopped.
the music stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I don't think I had music playing. Is it your music maybe?
No, you had music all the stream, I think.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know if it was on the stream or on the Discord, but I have been hearing like some kind of motivational music, but I don't know if that was on the stream.
Interesting. Can anyone who's been watching the stream let us know if there was music? It's a music ghost happening here. Zach says
no
he didn't hear
music.
music.
Oh, no music. I think it was something on the. And oh, we have a person here. Can.
Maybe in the meantime, while they're writing questions, I'm still like I'm interested in your music career. Also, like, do you miss it? Like, do you want to do some more music in the future?
I'm missing it a lot, because I grew up being a musician. I played the violin since I was like 5 years old. My father played the bass. My aunt is a singer, pianist. So basically, all my father family is a musician. But I think in the 3D animation part, it was like a really big plus for me being a musician because I don't know if you know, of course you know, about this director works. How is this guy name? The guy that directed Whiplash and La La Land.
Oh, I don't know that guy's name. I don't know who directed it.
I think his Chazelle is his last name. The thing is that this guy, have you seen these movies, the both?
Yeah, I've seen both of them, and they're both really good. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's called Damien Chazelle.
Damien Chazelle, yeah. So you can see that his style is too much related to music. You can find that on the montage of the movie and the main them. So I think that's my only reference regarding to cinema because it's the only guy that I can rely on because okay he was a drummer and you can see a lot of drum pieces of music in his movie. So we can like relate because for example I like the movies that don't speak. They only tell the history through the sound or through the music. So that is something that I need to to find the way to mix both of this world, but in my own way, using all the all the stuff that I have in my mind regarding to music, directing, and composing. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like something like I guess. I mean, when you're talking about that, I'm kind of like imagining something like Soul, right, where the main character is a pianist, and there was like such cool visuals around that, and like such detailed animation with him playing the piano. Is that the kind of direction you're thinking, trying to like make movies in that direction?
Yeah, exactly. I hear a lot of music of soundtrack. Or every time I work, I heard like Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard or Danny Elfman music.
Hmm.
That's the kind of music that I always hear.
That's all right. All right. We didn't get any questions yet, so if no one has, like, it seems like we answered everything. Apparently, they know
We
everything
have
about you.
we have
What?
a guy on the call, Satch.
Satch,
But I
let me
think
check. Hello. Oh,
hello.
Zach. Yeah, what's up, Zach?
Hey, I have a question.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Shoot your question.
I thought it was really unique. When you played the show reel, there was so much stuff, with like
Thank you.
like superheroes and kind of like Marvel inspired work. And so I haven't delved too deep to see, I guess like the finished product of kind of like I guess some of your accomplishments in that area. But I know that there's oftentimes a lot of action sequences in like superhero content and like fighting and like cool moves and stuff like this. So I'm I'm about to myself do my first ever like action sequence in like 3D and VFX, and I was wondering if you had any tips or lessons that you thought you know that you kind of found on early on that like, oh man, this is a game changer when you're kind of like putting together something that's action oriented and supposed to look cool and flashy and you know I, to me this is something entirely new, so I think your experience would be really interesting to learn from.
Or if you are starting, I think the best thing that we can do when starting is to imitate some referent. I mean, when we are kids, we start to learn how to speak by hearing our parents, discuss. So if you have, for example, in my own experience, my best reference for action sequence is Zack Snyder. I don't like his movie. I don't like his way of writing characters, but I think like today he's the best when when assembling action sequence. So I think the best advice that I can give you is maybe you can grab some sequence, maybe from Zack Snyder or your favorite action movie, and try just to copy, just starting. And I don't know what happens on the brain when you start copying things, but when you start to like learning in this way, you start like reading some information in your subconscious brain that comes out when you start to do things from scratch, So a lot of people have told me that visually I don't like when they say this to me, but I'm pretty similar to Zack Snyder, and
Mhm.
that's because I have like seen a lot of his stuff because I really like how he lights his work. I mean, if he were like a wallpaper director, he could be the best because all of his movie looks like like a great wallpaper. But that I think that's the best advice that I can give you. And
Mhm.
if you can mm, study everything related to photography, the how do you say this in English? The Aurean perfection is called.
Cinematography?
Yes, but yeah, everything related to cinematography, points of interest, compositing rules, and if you can also stop your whatever show you are watching, I don't know, Secret Level, Game of Thrones, sequence action, and if you can like break down everything what you are seeing, you will be once you have like that information in your brain, you will be able to in some way, don't ask me how. I don't know how the brain works. In some way, you will be able to like work that on to write that in your own work. So don't try to like make everything too conscious. Just start to do stuff, start to study, start to watch, and everything will come out alone.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta agree with like imitating and like working directly with reference to, at least to begin with, is really helpful because it actually connects kind of like your brain to your body, right? Like all your tools to your brain. So you
hmm
learn how to actually do the things that you imagine or that you see, and you want to recreate those. So yeah, definitely try that approach.
Great.
What,
Thank
did
thank you
did
so
it
much.
answer? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge help. I thank you so much. I'll definitely look into some inspirational pieces with that in mind. So,
Oh,
Nice.
another one last thing. Try to learn the 12 principles of animation. I think that's really differential when doing action sequence.
okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look that up.
There is
Yeah.
a video on YouTube. You can type 12 principles of animations, and you will see the thumbnail is like some kind of cartoon on a yellow paper, and it's a really good, cool video. But once you watch that video, you will finally like make conscious a lot of stuff and trick used on action sequence.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a great
cool.
trick. Great tip.
All right. Well,
Uh,
appreciate it. Thanks so much.
No
I've already
problem.
got the video pulled up, so
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll be looking through that and learning something new today. Very
Awesome.
exciting.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for coming over, Zach. We'll see you later.
Absolutely. Thank you. Adios.
Okay, man.
Adios.
Thank you.
We got one question from your friend Ori here. I have a question too. What was the inspiration behind this? How did the whole thing get rolling? I think he's talking about the Age of Ultron, like your fan film.
Um, Not sure. Maybe she's asking about the inspiration behind my passion for the 3D world, or my inspiration for
All right.
age
Yeah.
the Revenge of Ultron. But I can answer both just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
Ori, you can be more specific if you want to, but he'll just
I mean,
answer both.
for the Revenge of Ultron, my big inspiration is that Age of Ultron was a movie with one of my favorite villains, which is Ultron. But it was a bit like, what could be the good word? Well, like,
Disappointing.
yeah, I was expecting from Ultron being like some kind of Thanos, like being like the final boss. And it was like another villain, blah blah blah. We defeated. Next movie. So I was expecting like some kind of apocalyptic movie. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's Marvel do their own stuff. I will stop criticizing them, and I will do my vision. And that was my inspiration in that part. And in the animation part, where the same thing that I told you before, when I was a kid, I went to see Atlantis with my mom, and it was like, ooh, wow, all these characters and monsters animated. And also from the Toy Story movie, which is a very special movie for me because I have watched it like 2,000 times, and I know every shot, every dialogue, everything about that movie. And I think that was like the root of all of the things that I do today.
Okay. Nice. Um, oh, we actually do
Yeah, man.
have a question from Keanu on the YouTube chat. Like, yeah, thanks for pointing it out, Keanu. He wrote that what do you think is the best way to learn Blender? Following a course or learning through projects, recreating scenes?
I think recreating scenes is better because, for example, I don't recommend you to view any course. I mean, I don't want to like trash talk any other
Oh,
content
you've
creator.
got your own courses too, man. You don't want to sell your course?
No, I mean, I don't recommend you to start viewing curves because maybe you will end losing money, and there is already, you can just type in Google, sorry, in YouTube, and type, I don't know, a free Blender course or free Blender beginner course or something. But okay, returning to the first thing, uh, recreating, I think, is the best way to learn because you are learning you're learning how to do things, but you are also learning how to see. You're training your eye. For example, the people that work on this stuff like 3D photography, CG, VFX, and we tend to see things that normal people. Sorry for saying this in this way, but we see things that normal people simply don't watch.
Hmm.
Or because we have a different, a different mindset. So if you can just find like your favorite movie, for example, in terms of cinematography or lighting, for example, I like pretty much the Batman movie photography, and or
The
the
new one?
Dune movie. Yes, the with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Um, I can't Craig something is the name of the guy in charge of the photography in that movie, but that guy has a really clean image uh, with a lot of lens and stuff effects with bokeh and anamorphic and stuff. So the thing I always try to mimic the work of that guy. So by trying to mimic his work, I have learned a bit of how a real camera works, or how the lenses work, the light and the color and all this stuff. So if you want to, to learn with uh, with better results, just take your reference, like the people that you think you are the pro elites on this stuff, and try to do what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said that kind of like in some different ways a few times already, but it really seems like that is a good approach. Because you already have the final ideal version in front of you, right? It's not kind of like how far you can imagine it, but you actually see it. So it's much easier to like see all the little details that someone who has 20 years experience in it knows how to do and where to put them, and then just like trying to like slowly understanding why they put those things there while creating it yourself.
Yeah, it's like doing like a reverse engineer is called.
Reverse engineering, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Reverse engineering has always been so fun for me to like. As a kid, I always like tear apart my like toy cars and stuff and try to understand how they work and
Oh.
like plug them into the power socket and have them like explode. It was very fun.
Yeah. I mean, when we are creating, we have always like the image on our minds, and then we come to Blender, and it is like, okay, how can I get there? So I think, yeah, the best way to learn how to move this to here could be, yeah, imitating.
Yeah, totally. Just Alex says also the What If series really showed what Ultron could have been. Do you agree? Have you seen that?
Mm. Yeah, that overpowered Ultron that slayed all the galaxy. I mean, I like that Ultron too much. I didn't like too much the concept of the what if. The concept regarding to this aesthetic, that 2.5D. I don't.
Yeah, it was a bit
It,
like
it
lower effort, right?
yeah, it looks like a arcane but low budget version,
Hmm.
So yeah, but in terms of like what Ultron could have been, I really like it what if did. In my movie, the things are not. He's not an overpowered, galaxy threat. It's more something like on the Earth, and we don't want to make like a, let's say, Goku stuff with Ultron.
All right, cool. I mean, with that, I would like to go into the last segment of the interview, which is kind of like a mind meditation, imagination experiment. I usually, I ask my interview guests to imagine things, and then they tell me exactly what they're seeing. Kind of like, basically, you would tell me exactly what happens in your visual eye, right? Would you be down for that? Would you like to experiment with that?
Okay, yes. Looks pretty interesting.
All right. Yeah, it's basically, I mean, for me personally, did it with a lot of my friends too, and it helped me personally to also understand why I am good at certain things and not so good in other things. Like, just because I like understanding how my imagination works and like seeing how that's different to other people's imagination. So, are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but well, I'm ready.
All right, cool. So, since this is about imagining things, if you like, you can close your eyes, and then I'll ask you to start with an apple. Just imagine an apple, and let me know what you see.
Okay. Give me a second here. And I'm gonna turn off my camera. 1 second.
All right.
Let me open this. Okay. Okay.
Are we loading into your consciousness right now?
Okay. Okay. An apple.
All right, Apple. Tell me what you see.
An apple. Black background. Yeah, I can see only the apple.
So a void, like a black void behind it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can you go close to that apple? Can you describe to me its texture and its material?
I can see like some kind of, like vertical lines, that you see on the apples.
Hmm.
But you never told me the color of the apple, right?
No. What color is it?
I'm watching a red apple.
Nice, nice.
And I'm watching it, I don't know why, but wet, with
Oh,
droplets.
yeah, very fresh.
I don't know why that came to my mind, but yes, that's what I'm seeing.
Can you imagine an environment around that apple, like where that apple would be?
Right now, I'm imagining like a camping forest or garden, with grass and trees, but everything out of focus.
I see. When that environment appeared, I would be interested in how it appeared. Like, did it just pop in, or like, how did you imagine that?
Wording what? I imagine it like in an instant. I mean, I'm watching like the apple over a table, maybe with a glass table, just to see the reflection below the apple with sunlight maybe in the background. But yeah, that's what I'm watching. I'm watching it like literally in milliseconds.
Ah, okay, so it just like pops in immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I would like for you to try to pick up that apple and, yeah, feel it in your hand. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
Do you feel like you can, like the imagination of holding it in your hand, is that like something you can feel physically, or is it more like a idea of a feeling?
I think it's the idea of the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I know the texture, the surface. I remember. I know how it feels. The wet surface. So I'm basing this, the experience based on the past
So you,
experience.
yeah, that means you can describe it, but you don't actually feel it in that moment, right?
Yeah, I can feel it, but not in my hand. More like a recreated, feeling here coming to the hand.
Okay. Interesting. Right. I would like to try to abstract that apple. Like, can you make that apple turn into a flower?
Holy shit. I mean, are you telling me to change the apple for a
Yes.
flower, or yes, I can.
Okay. How did that happen? Also, like in an instant?
Yes, but some things changed. I mean, I'm still seeing the background with the out of focus with all this garden and trees, but you didn't tell me this, but on the base of the flower, I'm watching this like this the dirt,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the apple just immediately turned into a flower with stick like inside of some dirt in your hand still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um.
I don't know
Alright.
why. I'm fucking crazy.
And since you have like such a musical background, I would be interested if you can, like, it sounded like you're in a camp area. Like, can you hear anything here? Do you hear a sound?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Was that always there the whole time?
Not consciously, but now that you say yes,
Hmm. And how
because
clear do you hear it? Like, let's say in percentage, like 100% is like real hearing, and how much do you hear it?
Since I am a musician, 100%.
Oh, you can like super clearly imagine hearing it, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. Can you? So yeah, it would be interesting to like see how far we can go there with. Can you imagine that flower making a noise or a sound? What does it sound like?
That's pretty hard. Because I have never heard a flower making sound, so you're basically you are asking me to, to pass the realistic, the
Yes,
realistic limit.
exactly.
Making a sound. A flower making a sound. I don't know why, but I'm imagining like some kind of like a wave, like a light wave sound effect.
Ah, okay, like a
But
shion.
yes, maybe yes, like a breeze.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's pretty hard.
Is that sound coming from that flower, or is it kind of like you're imagining it? How, or like you're thinking of what this flower would sound like?
No, I'm imagining this sound, but from coming from the environment more than the flower itself.
See, I
Maybe we
would,
should have to create a custom sound effect for a flower.
I'm very interested in that. Like, can you try making that flower? You can also change the flower. Maybe give it an instrument or something it could play. Like, can you make that flower make a sound somehow?
Oh, you can change that sound effect for some kind of like musical note, but like in the Hans Zimmer style, because he likes, to mix sound effects with music and produce crazy stuff. So maybe if we give this flower like some kind of sci-fi aspect, not futuristic, but like some kind of flower from the Avatar world from
Uh
James
huh.
Cameron,
Yeah, yeah.
and maybe give it like some kind of sound effect or like a musical note pitch or something. Hmm, that might be interesting.
All right. Okay. I want to come back a little bit to the visual. Like, can you describe to me maybe again, like in the percentage, like how clear you can visually see the things in front of your inner eye?
Earlier I told you 100%, but now could say that 90% because I am imagining a sci-fi flower, but how could be a sci-fi flower?
So it's kind of
Because there are
like difficult to materialize in front of your inner eye.
maybe it could be like a big flower with blue petals and glowing, glowing details, glowing yellow details, maybe.
Mhm. And you said before also that like the background was in defocused, right?
Hmm.
That kind of like felt to me, yeah, almost like in a like a 3D sculpting environment, work environment, when you have like that blurry HDRI and Blender on, right? Um,
Hmm.
when you imagine these things, does it feel like you're personally there, or does it more feel like you look through a camera or through a window?
I'm looking for a camera, or that's how I imagine things.
Ah, okay. How does that? Yeah, I mean, how can you tell it's looking through a camera?
Like a close-up of this sci-fi flower centered on the screen.
Hmm.
Everything with this like fish eye effect on the the depth of field.
Ah, I see. So you have like, yeah, lens effects basically. How to see
Mm-hmm.
it? I see. Okay, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's how far I want to take it for now. It's very interesting to me. How did you like it? What do you think about it?
It felt pretty nice, and I just figured out right now that I'm better building image from sounds than building image from description, I think.
Uh-huh. So when I asked you to imagine the sound, then you felt like everything was becoming easier and clearer?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Is that something you used before, kind of like using, I mean, you said you always listen to music, so I guess that's maybe where it comes from, that when you listen to music, the visual almost comes automatically.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, that makes total sense. Is like were you like aware of this, or did you kind of like notice it through this experiment just now?
I don't know. I mean, I was aware of this because I mean, always build my scenes based on some kind of music or some kind of track that gives me the the emotion that I want the image transmit to the viewer.
Hmm.
But yes, I just figured out that mm, meanwhile some artists build their own stuff by descriptions or I don't know. I'm able to build from music, from the sound. It can be music or sound for me, it's the same. But yes.
Yeah, very interesting. That's definitely something I haven't heard before. Like, yeah, that's
Oh,
very unique to you, I
I am
think.
special.
Yeah, it's so special. I mean, I think music definitely helps to like kind of like trigger emotions in people, right? And that's making it easier to be creative. But like that direct connection between sound, music, creating the visual, that's yeah, that feels more unique to you. Yeah.
Yes, like some kind of triangle between music, image, and creation.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Well, that would have been the end now. Thanks, Israel, for joining. Do you want to? You seem sad. You want to talk about more stuff?
I don't know, I have work to do.
All right. No, yeah, I want to thank you for joining this. It was a very interesting interview. I think you also said a lot of interesting things and good tips to our viewers. And I also want to quickly share the link to Israel's YouTube channel here. It's called Ego Motion CG, and he's also doing very cool tutorials about, like, I guess mostly focused on Blender Octane workflow, right?
Yes, but right now the tutorials and courses that I'm creating, I mean, I saw once one video just to finish. There was one guy about content creation that told to his viewers that create the content that you could like to see.
Yeah.
So right now I'm creating content just focused on creating cinematics. I mean, I'm not teaching you like the Octane universal material, the dirt material. That actually, if you enter my channel, that's the tutorials that you will find. But just like leaving that technical part. I'm focusing more on building a complete product.
Mm-hmm.
From scratch to finish, split it on stage like texturing and lighting or compositing. But yes, I'm focusing more on delivering like a final cinematic instead of like animation tutorial, the texturing tutorial.
See. All right. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely something that's also very interesting to me. So I'll make sure to check it out when it comes out.
By the way, you should switch to Octane. Just saying.
I'll give it a shot for sure. Yeah, I've heard that a few times now. I guess I'm just on cycle still because I want to be, like, especially with the school, I guess I want to have kind of like a easily reachable workflow for people to like see and learn. But yeah, I'll definitely want to give it a shot. Give it a shot. If it's also still free, right? It's free for Blender,
It's
right?
free. Yes. I mean, you can purchase the studio license and you can have like multiple GPUs and network rendering, but for my case, I'm happy with the free license.
Perfect. Yeah, then there's no reason to not try it out. Yeah, for totally.
Hmm
All right. Oh, and Zach said that he has found his mind brother in you.
Thanks, man.
So I guess you guys imagine alike. Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then this is the end of the interview, and I'll be continuing with the Create Together stream in about like 10 minutes. So yeah, see you guys over there in 10 minutes, and yeah, thank you again for coming by, Israel. I'll be working with you again soon, and we'll hear us.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation, Calver. It was a really cool experience. My first experience, so I
I'm
hope to
happy you
repeat
liked
it.
it. Yeah, you will. Especially when you release that, those short films or those episodes, putting it to festivals and stuff. I'm pretty sure you'll get your awards again.
I hope.
Have a great night. I'll see you soon. Oh yeah, I need to click. That was like you win a